Where he was in the boxing ring.
Boxing ring, and Howard Cosell, who was then a famous announcer for ABC Sports, introduced him. And I was asked at some point to get Mr. Sinatra Listerine. We're at Madison Square Garden. It's not like there's a Listerine store in Madison Square Garden. So I dutifully ran out, found a drugstore of some sort. This is before CBS. This is 45 years ago.
Whoa, this is just too much. The colors are so overpowering that they take over every single scene. The original setting had a soft, magical glow. Cozy dwarf's cottage, a warm, inviting forest, and Snow White's delicate presence all blending. Together like a dreamy fairy tale. But now, it's like someone cranked the saturation to the max. Neon colors explode everywhere. Flowers are so bright they pull focus from the scene, and those adorable forest creatures, instead of feeling alive and charming, they look like stiff props in some high-tech demo. Fans wasted no time taking to social media. And man, were they disappointed? Many had hoped the dwarfs would have the same unique personalities as the beloved animated versions. Doc's nervous leadership, Grumpy's permanent scowl, Bashful's shy charm. But these CG versions, they're lifeless. Their expressions barely change, and they don't carry the quirks that made them fan favorites. It's like Disney just threw them in for name recognition, but forgot to give them any soul. Instead of being lovable companions, they feel like awkward, misplaced side characters. And it's not just the dwarfs. Even the iconic woodland animals have taken a hit. In the classic film, Snow White's sweet, heartfelt interactions with rabbits, deer, and birds created some of the most emotional moments. But now, that special Disney magic seems to be fading fast.
Not designed right now to necessarily develop great leaders or to encourage more people to seek public office. It just is far more difficult. Now, I've never been in it, but from what I observed, it's far more difficult to run for office today than ever before.
Snow White's magic was always in the little things. Her kindness, her deep bond with nature. In the original, those woodland creatures moved with a natural charm, seamlessly blending into the animated world. But now, they're so oversaturated they practically glow. Instead of feeling warm and lifelike, their rigid expressions and awkward movements feel ripped straight out of some early 2000s CGI experiment. And that's shocking. We're talking about Disney here. The same studio that gave us near photorealistic lions and breathtaking jungle landscapes somehow fumbled something as simple as fairy tale forest critters. So, what went wrong? Well, industry insiders are whispering about chaos behind the scenes. Rumors say the project bounced between multiple effects teams, causing rushed schedules and major inconsistencies. Others claim the studio blew the budget on flashy moments, like the Evil Queen's transformation and high-energy action scenes, leaving the dwarfs and animals looking like afterthoughts. Whether those rumors are true or not, one thing is clear: fans aren't happy. Social media is flooded with criticism, with many calling it budget CGI, unworthy of Disney's legendary name. But this isn't just about bad visuals. It's about the film's entire identity. Snow White's charm always came from its simplicity. It wasn't about grand, over-the-top effects. It was about her innocence, her heartfelt connection with nature, and the dwarf's warm, quirky friendship. The 1937 classic worked because of its modest, fairy tale warmth. But this new version, it drowns everything in loud, flashy visuals, trying so hard to upgrade the story that it loses the very magic that made it special.
I feel like it was like that for a lot of us. It's easier for me than it was for Tom because I wasn't playing a character that had already existed in the previous films. And those performances are so wonderful that you don't want to try to recreate anything because there's the fear of failing miserably. But also, it's 64 years before the original films take place, the original books, and Francis Lawrence, who directed Catching Fire and both Mockingjay films, and Nina, who produced all of the Hunger Games content, they didn't put any pressure on us to try to recreate anything.
So timeless. Classics deserve timeless standards, but that's exactly where this new Snow White seems to be falling apart. Modern audiences are used to mind-blowing CGI, whether it's from superhero blockbusters or hyper-realistic nature remakes. So, when Disney, the undisputed king of family entertainment, delivers what looks like half-finished visuals, it's a major letdown. Fans are already drawing comparisons. Some say fan-made edits look better, while others point to rival studios that have pulled off far more convincing fantasy worlds with smaller budgets. If they can do it, why can't Disney? And then, there's the bigger issue, the disconnect between Disney's words and its execution. The studio and cast swear they're honoring the original while modernizing it, but let's be real. Does this even feel like Snow White anymore? The dwarfs? Barely recognizable. The animals? Plastic and lifeless. The scenery? So exaggerated it loses all its warmth. It's starting to feel like Disney is pushing spectacle over soul, using respecting the classic as a marketing buzzword rather than an actual guiding principle. But this isn't just about bad CGI, it's about what it represents. The visuals aren't just surface-level mistakes. They reflect the deeper changes happening to the story itself. Fans already fear that beloved plot points are being erased, that characters are being rewritten into something unrecognizable. Snow. White was never about over-the-top special effects. It was about heart, wonder, and simple, timeless storytelling. Right now, it feels like Disney's obsession with flashy digital tricks is actively working against the magic that made Snow White so special in the first place. And fans aren't having it. So at this point, whether Disney can fix these effects in post-production, or if it even plans to, remains a mystery. Maybe future teasers will give a better look, but let's be honest, the damage is already done. Even dropping an updated trailer could backfire, fueling more skepticism instead of restoring faith. The dwarfs and woodland creatures have become a symbol of a much bigger issue. In Disney's desperate push to modernize Snow White, they're stripping away the very magic that made it timeless. And in their grand attempt to fuse cutting-edge visuals with a beloved classic, they might have made the worst choice of all, turning it into just another soulless, market-driven blockbuster. Disney's big-budget movies usually follow a tried-and-true formula. Flashy teasers, sleek posters, and an all-out social media blitz that floods every corner of the internet. But with Snow White, something feels off. Instead of a traditional global rollout, Disney took an unusual approach, restricting the first extended look to a select handful of theaters for a limited time. And of course, this only made fans more curious and suspicious. Those who missed outscoured the internet for leaks, and soon enough, they got what they were looking for, but not in the way Disney intended. Blurry, low-resolution recordings started flooding social media, giving viewers a shaky, grainy glimpse of Rachel Zegler's Snow White and those now infamous CG dwarfs. Instead of building excitement, these leaked clips set off a firestorm of criticism. It almost felt like Disney was trying to control the narrative, limiting exposure to avoid backlash. But if anything, their secrecy only made things worse. By the time Disney finally dropped the official trailer, the damage had already been done. Fans had made up their minds. The mix of leaked footage, conflicting rumors, and controversial cast interviews had already painted a troubling picture. And instead of putting out the fire, the official release only seemed to confirm the worst fears.